So now we have been discussing around IAM, we have been discussing around IAM Identity Center organizations, and AWS does not stop with these options. Okay, so they have many other options where you can handle the IAM portion. So AWS Directory Services, or I would say AWS IAM options, Identity and Access Management Solution options. So there are many solutions in the marketplace. Okay, so let's not get that deep into the marketplace solution, but so different companies will have different strategy for IAM, right? If it is a very small size startup, or maybe some even some mid-size company also, they will have a single AWS account, and then they can manage the permissions using AWS IAM service. Okay, and if in case you want to integrate with your on-premises users and groups, you can also add this single sign-on solution on top of your IAM, and you can have this on-premises identity providers users and created to log into the resources, access the resources in AWS, and you can also give them access to cloud applications and so on. So this is how a small organization will handle it. So option 2, you have a large to very large organizations or corporate companies where they will have multiple AWS account to segregate their workload. And here AWS IAM can also solve the purpose, but then it is like a decentralized way of managing it in a decentralized administration. And then if you add SSO, then it becomes somewhat centralized option. But the ideal way of handling it is using AWS IAM Identity Center. Okay, so this is the centralized administration, IAM administration tool. So you can control the authentication, authorization, policies, and all those things from one single area. So for multi-account customers, you will have AWS Identity Center, and as I told you, AWS Identity Center is having a dependency for AWS Organization, AWS Service Control Policies. So these are all somewhat dependent resources. Even if you want to have resource access manager to handle the way that you are giving permissions to resources, you can also have this resource access manager. I'll explain about that a little later, but organization is a mandatory stuff for identity center solution enablement. So that's the reason we went for organization. So these are all some options, and some customers are already using a lot of workload which are dependent on some providers native. For example, Microsoft has its own proprietary solution for authentication and authorization. See, for authentication, they have been using NTLM and multiple versions are there, but currently we have multiple versions of Kerberos, which is the latest authentication protocol when it comes to Microsoft. So using this protocol, generally the um, .NET applications or your Microsoft SQL databases, and then your operating system clusters, and then now there are variety of things, right? So Microsoft provides too many tools, right? MECM or ICCM or SCOM or SMS or your data protection manager tool, ACDPM, your Hyper-V, and then SE, VMM. So all these tools are authenticated using Kerberos protocol, authenticated using Kerberos protocol. And if you want to migrate these .NET applications, SQL databases, operating system clustered environment, and SCOM, ACCM to AWS platform, then you need to have a solution that provides you this Kerberos authentication protocol. And for authorization, they use their native toolset, and even for your what do you call for the directory browsing, they also have the native LDAP. Okay, and then even for accessing the resources, they use this SMB protocol, which is their native server message block protocol. Just 1 second. Okay, so in the cloud, things are changing. Okay, so we have different solution for connecting and authorizing. So here in the cloud, we use SAML or OpenID Connect, or we use OAuth. So these are all the tools that are very popular in the public cloud, right? Just let me capture that. So if you ask me how IAM and all these things work in the cloud, okay, so they leverage different protocol for authentication. For authentication, they use SAML, they use OpenID Connect, and then for authorization, they use Open Authorization, OAuth. Generally, version 2 is what generally we use. So in the cloud, in we for federation, we use WS Federation, and then in the on-premises, we use Active Directory Federation for integrating different identity solution. So if your organization is full of Microsoft services and solution, then you need to have something which supports that. So if that is the case, then what Microsoft does is like they provide you three different offering based on your customer requirement. So if your organization is having very less workload, or when I say very less workload, it might not make sense here. So very less number of users, and then computers, resources, and so on. So what you can do is you can use Simple AD, which is a very basic version of Active Directory from AWS. And then if your organization is very large, and then they have large number of objects. When I say objects in AD, we refer it to users, groups, policies, computers, servers, and all those things. Okay, so these are all objects. When you have a lot of objects to manage, like 30,000 directory objects, or company has got 10,000 employees, and so on. So you need to go for AWS Managed AD solution. So this is a managed version of Microsoft AD solution. So here the advantage is that these two services or solutions are platform as a service solution. Okay, so you don't have to manage the infrastructure, and even you don't have to manage the underlying operating system or the VM. So AWS will take care of the operating system licensing, OS management, OS patching, OS upgrade. If there is any issue with your Active Directory, they will help you to restore. So AWS takes care of the infra, the here we call it as EC2 instance, the instance, and then the OS, the patching, backup, all routine activities, they will take care of it. Paying backup, etc. So here they give only AD as a service to you. So Active Directory as a service will be given to the customer in this particular solution. But this is a full-fledged version of Microsoft AD solution, whereas Simple AD is for simplified, very small number of users. It is very cheaper compared to your AWS managed AD solution. I will show you how to create these things and how to use them. Don't worry about the practical aspects. I will show them shortly. Okay. So if it is less number of users, computers, then go for Simple AD. If you have a large number of users, then go for this one. And again, within this AWS managed AD, you have two solutions: standard license and enterprise license. So I think standard license has limitation of maybe like 5,000 employees, something like that. So mid-size organization, large to very large organization, they will go for enterprise licenses can support up to maybe I would think 5 lakh objects, but this is something like it's a kind of soft limit, and you can get them changed. I mean, you can add more systems to support more. And finally, see, if I as a customer, sometimes I feel like I don't want to give the control of the OS. I don't want to give the control of my directory objects. So what I can do is I can create a AWS EC2 instance, and then I can have that Windows server, and on top of that I can enable that Windows server Active Directory solution. So this is like a infrastructure as a service solution, right, where you will have customer will have full control on the EC2 instance and the OS and the management activities, right? So if as a customer I don't want to give full control on my OS, and I want to manage the schema, I want to manage the registry, I want to take the backup and all those overhead, if you want to take that with you, you can also do that. Okay, so this is another option that you have. So I don't want to bring the Active Directory solution to cloud, but I want to have on-premises Active Directory, and then I want to integrate with the on-premises solution. What you can do is you can also go and use the AD connector solution. Okay, AD connector is for integrating your on-premises solution with AWS Directory solution. Okay, and you can also integrate with Active Directory Federation service for any if you have some multi-factor authentication using some devices, or if you want to enforce the secondary factor of authentication to your on-premises, or if you want to have federation with your on-premises, you can also use AD Federation service to integrate two different identity solutions. Okay, so that is another option. Finally, AWS also provides one more option, which is for customer based identity solutions. For example, in AWS, you might have some mobile applications, or you might have some web applications, or you might also have some AWS resources like your S3, or any, I mean, DynamoDB, or a lot of different services are there. You can also give access to um, Lambda function or whatever, right? So AWS resources to your customers. Okay, so when I say customer, mainly I'm talking about business to customer and business to business. Okay, so business to business or business to customer. So you will have global consumers from the internet. Okay, you might have a mobile application or a web application that needs to be accessed by your end customers. Okay, so the end customers can be your any users who are outside of your company, and even you might have some contractors who need to be logged in. So for business to business or business to consumer integration, you can go with this option called AWS Amazon Cognito solution. Amazon Cognito solution. Cognito. So this is the seventh scenario and then seventh option that you have. So this is mainly customer IAM solution. Okay, when I say customer IAM solution, we are using this service to allow the end customers, the end users, to log into your mobile application and access the features and benefits. And similarly, you can give them access to S3 or DynamoDB or Lambda function or whatever AWS resource. So this is going to give you a kind of method to implement secure frictionless access. Okay, so you don't have to make any changes, and then you can keep adding as many resources as you want. So it's I would say it is a CAM solution. What is CAM? Customer Identity and Access Management Solution. Okay, let me put it here only. They call it as CIAM solution. You can also have whatever integration or this gives you the security legal requirements are met using this Amazon Cognito. So Amazon Cognito is a service for example, if you have a mobile application, web application on AWS, and if you want the consumer to directly log in, so this service can be used where you can go and create user pools, you can create identities, and then allow the users to go and access. So it can be used for a variety of multi-tenancy B2B or B2C solutions. So when you're doing business, you might have contractors, you might have end users. So if you want to have business to business relationship, you can use this Cognito to create the user pool and then give them access. Or if you want to give them access to role based services like storage S3 or database DynamoDB, you can also give them. So mainly, Amazon Cognito is intended for AWS applications, mostly like the modern microservices application, right? You might have a lot of different sub applications for your business requirement. So those microservices based applications can be very much integrated to your Amazon Cognito for authentication, and on the back end, it can also be linked to your AWS resources or backend resources for storing your data, or it can be integrated with your database. So using Amazon Cognito, you can log into this microservices based mobile app or web application, and you can also access the resources, whatever is tied to that. So it gives you different level of policies and stuff. I'll also have a demo on Cognito later. Okay, so don't worry about whatever we have discussed so far. So we are going to see all of these options in a practical demo. So far we have seen IAM, we have seen IAM Identity Center. So we are going to start seeing the options for Simple AD, AWS Managed Microsoft AD, and this is something which everyone knows, right? So Windows Server Active Directory. So you have to deploy a Windows Server, and then you have to install or deploy that Active Directory or promote that server as domain controller. Okay, in order to do that, you have to go to your Windows operating system, and in the older versions, we used to have this command DC promo, but it is no more there. You have to go and install the role called Active Directory Domain Services, and then you can get that server. What we can do is, let me also show you how to do this also. Okay, so we'll see the practical for Windows Server Active Directory also. So that way I will also show you the AD connector solution. For now, let's try to complete these two options, Simple AD and AWS Managed Microsoft AD. Okay, go to your AWS console. Okay, so, okay, fine. Let me just